Since starting in July 2018, when have discretionary merit compensation awards been available to employees of the Wisconsin School for the Blind?
Just this award that was issued in June of 2019.
Okay. And do you see the effective date of the award on, or the discretionary merit compensation awards in particular?
I do.
Exhibit R4?
Yes.
What is that date?
The awards are effective either May 26th or June 9th.
Okay, and where you're seeing that, I think, is under the heading titled Discretionary Equity and Retention Adjustments. Is that right? Okay, so I'm asking about the effective date for the discretionary merit compensation awards. I believe is on page 3, but I'll let you look.
All right. Timeline, is that what you're asking about?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's a little bit too big.
So in that fourth bullet down under the timeline approval process, the awards are effective June 9th. The beginning of the pay period following the date the state superintendent receives the information.
And does Exhibit R4 state the eligibility requirements for the discretionary merit compensation awards that were effective June 9th of 2019?
It does. So if we go to page 2 of that memo,
okay, and could you
okay.
read, once we get there, could you read the eligibility requirements, please?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So if you scroll down a little bit more, yep, right there. So it indicates that all permanent and project employees who have received satisfactory performance evaluation in the past 12 months are not serving the first 12 months of a probationary period, have not been issued formal discipline in the past 24 months, and have not received a pay adjustment under pay upon appointment provisions of the compensation plan within the past 12 months are eligible for DMCs.
Can I just ask a question? When you say formal discipline, what is meant by that?
Sure. So formal discipline would be a formal letter that was issued to an employee outlining discipline.
So is a verbal remark count as formal discipline?
It does not.
Okay. What about anything said in a performance evaluation?
That would not be considered formal discipline, no.
Okay. All right, thank you. Continue, Attorney Kernet.
Thank you. What is a pay upon appointment provision?
Pay upon appointment provision is when an employee goes to a different position and receives a pay increase.
Okay. And was Ms. Stackhouse eligible for a discretionary merit compensation award that would be effective June 9th, 2019?
She was not eligible for that.
And why not?
Ms. Stackhouse was not eligible because she was promoted to the teacher position on November 25th of 2018. And she had received a pay upon appointment adjustment when she was promoted. And she was also ineligible because she was serving the first 12 months of her probationary period as a teacher.
And were discretionary merit compensation awards paid or available at any time after June of 2019 to Wisconsin School for the Blind and Visually Impaired employees?
No.
Okay. If we can move on to Exhibit R5, please. Okay, could you identify that document, please?
Yes, so Exhibit R5 is the Wisconsin Human Resources Handbook chapter. This provides general guidance to state of Wisconsin agencies in awarding discretionary merit compensation awards, and agencies can make additional provisions as well.
Okay, I'll move to admit Exhibit R5.
Any objections, Ms. Stackhouse?
I don't have any objections. I probably have some questions later, but
Okay, well, you can hang on to those and then
okay.
you'll get your chance to ask questions in a little bit. Okay, it's admitted.
Okay. How does the Wisconsin Human Resources Handbook relate to the DPI's authority to award discretionary merit compensation awards?
So this provides guidance to DPI in awarding these awards or administering the awards.
And does DPI have to follow the handbook?
They do.
Okay, and can DPI create additional requirements that are stricter than the handbook?
They can, yes.
Does Exhibit R5 address the award of discretionary merit compensation to individuals for whom pay upon appointment has been used within the past 12 months? Sorry, has been issued within the past 12 months?
It does. If you go to page 2, specifically section 550.030. I'm sorry. Yes, I think that is right.
I think if you look in the first, is there something under the basic DMC information at the beginning of, if you can scroll up on page 2?
Okay, just bear with me 1 second. Let me just read this real quickly. Okay, so the 5th bullet down in that first basic DMC information section indicates that employees may not be eligible for DMC if broadband pay upon appointment was used in the same fiscal year. And then it refers you to see exception request procedure described in section 550.090.
Okay. And was the DPI eligibility criteria contained in Exhibit R4 that we looked at earlier with respect to pay upon appointment different than that in Exhibit R5?
It's a little different because the handbook chapter is saying if you want to award an employee a DMC who has received a pay upon appointment adjustment, you have to submit an exception request for approval by the Division for Personnel Management. The memo, Exhibit R4, that Deputy State Superintendent Mike Thompson sent indicated basically employees who had received an increase for a pay upon appointment adjustment are not eligible. So there were stricter guidelines put in place by DPI.
And why were the guidelines different?
The guidelines were different. Oh, I'm sorry, what's that?
Why did DPI do that?
Oh, okay. The guidelines were different. DPI did that because pay increases for state employees are so few and far between that the department made a blanket decision to focus on employees who had not received an increase in pay within the past 12 months to award DMCs to.
And did the Division of Personnel Management approve the DPI eligibility criteria that is documented in Exhibit R4?
They did, yes.
And if we could move on to Exhibit R6, please. And Ms. Barbarick, if you could identify that document, please.
Exhibit R6 is an excerpt from the 2017 to 2019 State of Wisconsin Compensation Plan.
Okay, I would move to admit Exhibit R6.
Any objections, Ms. Stackhouse?
No.
Okay, then it's admitted.
Okay, and was the state compensation plan that was in effect until June 22nd of 2019?
Yes, it was.
And if I could direct you to Let's see. It was page 32 of the the entire PDF. Section J 2.00, page J2. What did the state compensation plan provide with respect to discretionary merit compensation awards for individuals who had received a pay upon appointment pay increase in the previous 12 months?
So if you look on J2 and go down to letter J, it indicates that an employee that was eligible for broadband pay upon appointment within the previous 12 months should be considered for DMC only in exceptional circumstances.
Thank you. If we can move on to Exhibit R7, please. And Ms. Barbarick, if you could identify this document, please.
Exhibit R7 is the performance evaluation for Stacy Stackhouse from report period July 1st of 2017 through June 8th of 2018.
Okay, and if you could move on to Exhibit R8, please.
R8 is the probationary performance evaluation for Stacy Stackhouse from November 25th of 2018 through June 30th of 2019.
Thank you. We could move on to identify Exhibit R9, please.
R9 is the performance evaluation conducted for Stacy Stackhouse from the report period of July 1st of 2019 through June 30th of 2020.
Okay. And finally, could you identify Exhibit R10, please?
Exhibit R10 is the performance evaluation conducted for Stacy Stackhouse from the report period July 1st, 2020 through July 30th, 2021.
And what was the end period of I think you said July 30th.
Oh, I'm sorry, June 30th, 2021.
Thank you. And are exhibits R7, R8, R9, and R10 all maintained in DPI Human Resources records in the course of a regularly conducted activity?
They are, yes.
I move to admit exhibits R7, R8, R9, and R10 into evidence.
Any objection, Ms. Stackhouse?
No. Could you go back up to, I think that's R8?
Yep.
Take a look at something.
You need me to make it bigger or move it over a little bit?
No, go up another one. I would just want to see the dates on there. Okay, 7/1/2015. Okay. Okay. That's
All
good.
right. Then they are all admitted.
Ms. Barbarick, if a school for the blind and visually impaired employee is disciplined, who issues that discipline?
The supervisor.
Is it possible for a school employee to be formally disciplined without the knowledge of human resources?
No.
And during her employment at the school for the blind and visually impaired, was Ms. Stackhouse ever formally disciplined?
No.
And how do you know that?
Because there is no formal discipline issued.
Okay. And did you review anything to determine that?
I reviewed Ms. Stackhouse's personnel file.
That's all I have for Ms. Barbara.
All right. Okay, Ms. Stackhouse, this is your opportunity to ask Ms. Barbarick any questions you have for her.
Okay. So, Miss Barbara, did you receive a discretionary merit fund?
An object as to relevance?
Ms. Stackhouse, why do you think this is relevant?
Because her name is on the list
Okay.
in the documents.
All right. I'll allow her to answer the question.
I have received a discretionary merit compensation award.
Can you tell me how many you've received?
One.
One. Okay. Do you remember what month or year you received that?
I believe it was in 2018.
2018. Okay. And who makes the decision? Who made the decision for you to receive one? Well, did you write it up yourself or did somebody else write it up for you?
No, I did not write it up myself. The final decision was made by the assistant state superintendent that oversaw the division I worked in.
Okay. Okay. And also in one of the documents we talk about the eligibility for the performance. Um, can you explain the pay upon appointment again?
Sure. So an employee who receives a pay upon appointment adjustment or an increase in pay for moving to a different position, they were ineligible to be considered for a discretionary merit compensation award.
Okay. And then you said there are type of provisions that can be made for discretionary fund compensation. What are the provisions that can be made to receive one of those?
I'm going to object to the form of the question because I don't understand the question. But if you understand it, Ms. Barwick, you can answer. I think.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I'm sorry.
Well,
Ms. Stackhouse, okay, just ask it another way, please.
okay, so in the document, it stated that there's a type of provisions that can be made that they can receive a discretionary fund. And I was just asking what type of provisions did it mean in the document?
So which document are you referring to?
You would have to go up. It's in one of her documents that it was saying that it's special provisions that can be made.
Was it the document from the Deputy State Superintendent? That would be Exhibit R4.
Or was it
Let me see.
J2, number J, where in exceptional circumstances?
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. I think we're in the right spot.
Okay, so that section is saying employees who have received an increase in pay for accepting a different position, they should only be considered for a DMC in very exceptional circumstances. And if an agency wishes to submit a recommendation for an employee who has received an increase in pay, they need to file a separate, and they have to provide justification explaining what exceptional circumstances occurred to justify giving an employee who did receive an increase in pay a DMC as well within that 12 months. DPI made the decision to not consider any employees who received a pay upon adjustment increase in the DMC criteria. They made a blanket decision saying we're not considering any employees who received an increase in pay within the past 12 months because state employees just don't receive increases very often. So we're going to focus on those folks who have not received an increase in pay.
Okay. And thank you for that. And also, if you go down, I think it's R8, my performances.
R8 is your probationary performance evaluation.
Yeah, go up one. So let me see.
17 to 18.
Yeah. Okay, so this is 7/1/2017 to June 8th, 2018. And even though I didn't receive a discretionary fund then either, but and if my performances were okay, I'm thinking that I probably should have during some time or event received one. So was I eligible then from 7/1/2017 through June 8th, 2018? Was I eligible for discretionary fund then?
I would have to look at the compensation plan that was in effect at that point, but most likely you would have been considered to be eligible for consideration.
Because this was before I became a teacher, so yeah. Okay.
I have a question. Ms. Barbrook, are these discretionary awards offered every single year?
No.
Was this one offered that year from 2017 to 2018?
I would have to look at the compensation plan that covered that period. I don't know off the top of my head.
I think it was.
I know, and I mean,
Yeah.
you have that exhibit for 2018, but I just have to look at the specific dates.
Okay.
So it's possible you were eligible.
That's all the questions that I have.
All right. Do you have any redirect, Attorney Carnett?
No, thank you.
Okay. All right. Then I think we are done with Attorney Barbrook. I mean, with Ms. Barbrook. I just gave you a new title. I think this is a good time to break for lunch. Unless you guys just wanted to power through and get Mr. Soto's testimony, and then we could be done probably before 1 o'clock.
I'd be kind of inclined to do that. I don't think his testimony will take very long, but I'm happy to take a break if others would like.
Ms. Stackhouse, do you need a short break? Do you want to take a 10-minute break, and then we'll come back with Mr. Soto and then
That'll be
finish
fine.
up the
Yeah.
hearing?
Yes.
That's fine? Okay. All right. Well, let's take a 10-minute break. I'm going to turn off the recording after I stop sharing here. So when we come back from the 10-minute break, I'll have to try and remember to record again. So if you don't see that red button, you'll have to remind me.
Okay.
All right. So we will come back in 10 minutes. Well, let's come back 11:50. So that'll be
Okay.
15 minutes. Okay. All
Okay,
right.
thank you.
Yeah, if you guys want to stay on, you can just mute yourself and stop your video.
Okay, thank you.